Ladies and gentlemen, the fair play handshake will take place between Toffee.
Welcome to Toffee TV. It's the match reaction. Everton 0, Manchester City 2 at Goodison Park today. A disappointing defeat in the end for Everton, and yeah, one of them games, I think. Obviously, the disappointment is that we haven't scored today. We've had a couple of big opportunities to do so, and we haven't taken them. Losing James Tarkowski was an absolute hammer blow. I think City would have struggled, I think, to break us down. Didn't look like they were going to do it with Tarky on the pitch, and obviously that changed when he went off, and they're too good a side to allow to dictate, and it's what we did. The manager went with a team that probably most people thought he'd go with today. Brozier continuing up front instead of Beto. He obviously had James Garner and Idrissa Gana-Gueye in midfield, the core ahead of them, Harrison on the right and Jai on the left. And I thought City got on the ball immediately. I thought we were just too passive. Probably the opening half, to be honest, but certainly the opening 15 minutes, there was no pressing. We just sat in shape and tried to make it difficult for them. And they just knocked it round like Manchester City do. They're the only team really that just keeps the ball comfortably when you watch teams in the Premier League. Obviously Arsenal were here a couple of weeks ago, and there's an element of that with them, but they're a bit more direct and they're a bit more incisive. I know when City have got Haaland playing, and obviously when Rodri's in it, they're a different proposition again, but everything was sort of in front of us. Early on, we couldn't get close to them. But when we did get the ball, we wasted it. You know, we had a little break where Jack Harrison does really well on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, and then whips across to the back post and no one gambles on it. And then the next time he does it, pulls a long ball out and cuts back in and crosses it. It's a terrible ball. He's overhit it. And there was too many of those moments that it was difficult to get the ball back off City, but when we did, we wasted it, and that came back to haunt us in the second half as well. And I just think City have had their issues this season. It's well documented. They're a team that's dominated the Premier League in the main for 7 or 8 years. This year, they're miles off it. They're still a top side. They've still got brilliant players. You can get at them. And that was a huge disappointment for me in the first half. That, Stefan Ortega, who for me is a few levels below. I don't think he's Man City quality personally. We just didn't even test him. The only time we put him under pressure, he kicked it out for a throw-in because he's not Ederson. And there wasn't enough of that. Now, okay, they make it difficult because, like I said before, they got so many talented footballers, but we just didn't do enough in that final third to put them under pressure. We didn't get shots away when we should have done. When it was on the edge of the box, we had a chance to shoot, we passed it wide. And the best and the closest we came to scoring was actually a corner. Came in and James Tarkowski's headed it to the inside of the post and comes out. And against a team like City, you need that little rub of the green, and we didn't get it. It dropped and they were able to clear it. At the other end, Jordan Pickford made a really good save from Nunes. It was a snapshot. He got down. He should have saved it, but he did. He done well. And then when he was beaten with a Kevin De Bruyne left foot shot, Jake O'Brien brilliantly cleared it away to safety. It was in. It was right in the corner. The accuracy you'd expect off De Bruyne. And that might be the last chance we get to see him, certainly against Everton in the Premier League. Looks like he's leaving City. Apparently he said he's open to staying in the Premier League. Well, Everton, go and knock on his door and offer him money, because I would love to watch that quality every week. There's lots of rumours he'll go off to America, but he's still a fantastic player. And him, along with Nico O'Reilly, was City's best 2 players. O'Reilly was unbelievable, by the way. What another gem they have there. Really comfortable on the ball, powerful, quick, calm. He was absolutely brilliant for Man City today. We went in 0-0, the break. Hadn't done enough in the final third. And I was hoping that the manager would, get them going a little bit. Yeah, you're playing City, you have to respect their quality, but you also have to ask questions of them. We saw Crystal Palace last week scored 2 and were so close to having the third. They had it chalked off for offside, but it was tight. And that was after the opening 20-25 minutes, and we just weren't incisive enough like that. But we did have a huge opportunity early on in the second half. Ball into the box. James Tarkowski wins the first header, and Jared Brandtwaite's on his own with the goalie. And if he just heads it down, it's 1-0 to Everton. He doesn't. He just helps it on. Ortega's done the Schmeichel, start and gets a hand on it and makes a stop. And it was a massive opportunity to take the lead. City knocked it round well again. Jordan Pickford's come up with another good save, one he should make again, but he's got a good hand on it to keep it out. And then we lost James Tarkowski in pretty innocuous, a ball forward, and he's jumped to try and stretch for it and has gone down, and straight away he's put his hand up to the bench. And I don't know if it's a knee. I haven't heard David Moyes after the game yet, or his hamstring, but he was signalling immediately to the bench. He punched the floor a few times. He was 3 games short of starting and breaking the record for the most consecutive appearances in the Premier League. He's been absolutely fantastic signing for Everton on a free transfer. He's played every minute of every game for the first time. Barring going off an injury time at Sheffield United for a concussion sub for 30 seconds or something, that he's missed any time on the pitch for Everton in the Premier League. And it was a hammer blow losing him. I actually think David Moyes got the substitution wrong. He put Michael Keane on. I think he should have put Nathan Patterson on. Patterson played the last game at Goodison, left back against Arsenal. And for me today, it should have been O'Brien pushed alongside Jared Brandtwaite and Nathan Patterson on at right back. Michael Keane hasn't played for ages in the Premier League. To put him on against Man City, against Mamouche, who's clever and sharp, he just looked way short of the level today, Michael. He had a poor afternoon. And it unsettled everybody, really. He got booked early on. Virtually his first challenge he got booked for on Mamouche, challenge on Mamouche. And then that meant if anyone went past him, he couldn't do anything. He was effectively out the game straight away. And I just thought, praise David Moyes to the hilt. He's done a fantastic job since he come in. He's got most things right. He got that wrong for me today. It was the wrong sub. We got through it, a spell. Decore went on a good run. It's a good left foot shot, which Ortega palm wide for the corner. We just couldn't get on the end of the corner. It got headed back across, and Brien on the line practically, but Ortega couldn't turn it in. City started stepping it up a bit, and then sort of 15 minutes to go or so, decided to make more subs and brought on people like Doku and Mateo, Kovacic, and really put Everton on the back foot. Everton brought on Dwight McNeil instead of Jack Harrison, who'd had a good game, really. Took off Idrissa Gana Gueye, which proved to be a real killer as well. Our best midfielder leaving the pitch meant all the energy had gone out of that midfield. And took off, Breuer had already been taken off rather because Beto come on for him. Breuer had an afternoon that wasn't really in the game. And you were hoping when Beto come on, he'd get sort of Guardiola and Diaz involved in a bit of a scrap. But the truth is he couldn't really get near to them. We didn't give him that ball in behind for him to run onto. And City, when Ghana went off, it was even more noticeable that Keane wasn't having a great afternoon. The defence was unsettled. Mykolenko thought had an excellent game for Everton. Even he was unsettled. He'd come over to right back at one stage to try and double up on Doku, but we eventually conceded the goal, and it come from us, really. At the other end, we broke. Alcaraz breaking forward brilliantly like he does, and he had 2 options with a pass, and he never got it to either player. One was Decore, the other one was Mykolenko. To give the ball away, City broke, and then we never got back into shape. There was an opportunity to make a tactical foul. We didn't. And then Michael Keane doesn't run with his man. They get him round the back. Ball fired across, and O'Reilly's there to tap it in. Seen it lots of times from Manchester City. It was a classic City goal, and we were behind. And really, once that went in, it was game over, because we'd had less and less... we'd put them under less and less pressure as the game went on, and we'd sort of played all our cards, really. And it sort of proved that way, even though it was 1-0. We never really laid the glove on them. We got in good areas, didn't choose the right ball, didn't get the ball across quickly enough, didn't have a shot maybe when there was a shot on. And eventually, you know, City get a slice of fortune with the second goal. It's a block tackle over on the right-hand side. Everton's left-hand side. And the ball ricochets right the way across the Doku's foot perfectly. You don't need to give them any chances. And he played it inside. It's laid back, and Kovacic running onto it, puts it in the far corner, and it was game over and a victory. I thought it was heading for a 0-0. I think with Tarkowski on the pitch, we might have got that 0-0. But City ultimately were better in the big moments, and they've won the game 2-0. And disappointment. I think the manager will have learned about the defence. I think he's got a huge decision now to make ahead, you know, at the Chelsea game. I think he needs to make the right one with that. And maybe it's time to mix up that midfield a little bit as well. We just didn't get near them. I think, you know, got to look at that. We know that we need players. Their substitutes were just a class apart. We know that. There's no point sitting here going on about it. They're far, far more quality than we have. But again, week and week go by, and it highlights that we are short in that attacking sense, and that's where most of the money needs to be spent and thought about in the summer. It's got to be clever signings. It's got to be players around Europe as well, bringing in to give us something extra, because we just don't have enough quality in that final third to hurt real good sides. We've seen that certainly with the last two home games. And Liverpool, you know, even though we were a little bit unfortunate against Liverpool, the inside of the post and the offside goal, we still had breaks against Liverpool where with more quality or a quick player, we would have been in behind them. And that was the case again today. So I think that's where all the work needs to be done. Man of the match, I'm going to give it to Mykolenko. I thought he had a real solid game today. He was up against an excellent player in Bernardo Silva. Kevin De Bruyne went out there a few times as well. And I thought Mykolenko was as good as anybody on the pitch today. So he is my man of the match. There you go. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Subscribe, give the channel a like as well. And have a good weekend. See you later.